Clayton Kershaw's rehab might not be going as smoothly as previously reported. Despite recent recruiting losses, USC's quarterback of the future remains on board. And with the NBA draft this week, we're going to discuss where USC and UCLA's hopefuls stand. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos' morning report. And so, once again, we are on the road. It is Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. I'm somewhere in southern Utah, coming back from a glorious evening with the Galaxy faithful. Lovely time. And by the way, it's Sunday, the Lord's Day. Take a moment. Thank the Lord. Thank, if you believe as I do in the Lord, for the good things that you have in your life, like LA Sports, like our subscribers. We added many new subscribers last night. And if you like being in the know about LA Sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 7, Anaheim 2. Shohei Ohtani and Gavin Lux each hit home runs. Miguel Rojas, Cavan Biggio, they each scored twice. The LA Galaxy shut out Real Salt Lake in a battle for first place in the Western Conference, 1-0. Gabriel Peck scored. The Galaxy are in a three-way tie now atop the MLS Western Conference table with RSL and LAFC. There is a rapid recap of that match if you look on the Galaxy playlist from last night. LAFC 6, San Jose 2, Mateusz Bogusz, the very singable name of Mateusz Bogusz. He scores twice. Kai Kamara actually passed Landon Donovan with a goal last night. Kamara is second on the MLS all-time scoring list. New York 98, Sparks 88. The Sparks be sinking because they be stinking. They're 4-13. Bay City FC 1, Angel City FC 0. Angel City slides all the way down to 10th in the NWSL. They're 4-7. Meanwhile today, nothing. Go touch the grass. Get some fresh air. As for the news, Clayton Kershaw said he felt, quote, a little bit of soreness, unquote, out of Wednesday's rehab start over in Rancho Cucamonga. Ruh-roh. Normally, soreness that you get in the Inland Empire is obviously from gunfire. That didn't happen this time. Dave Roberts said, quote, there's a possibility, unquote, that the Dodgers will delay Kershaw's next start, which is currently scheduled for Tuesday in Oklahoma City. Now, Kershaw only threw 37 pitches last week. It was his first in-game performance since having shoulder surgery in November, I should say. Roberts said Kershaw will play a little catch today. If things feel okay, maybe it's a go out in Oklahoma. We'll have to be patient. Roberts also said that Dustin May has begun to throw bullpen sessions in his return from Tommy John surgery, and he called it promising. Roberts believes May can return before the end of the season. We've been speculating, by the way, about how the Dodgers will tinker with their rotation for this week. Oddly, they have a day off today, Sunday. How often does that happen in baseball? But they have 3 off days over the next 9 days, including today. So it is possible, we don't know for sure yet, but it is possible that the Dodgers will go with a 4-man rotation. James Paxton, Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone, and Tyler Glasnow. London Knack is available if needed, if they still want to stick with a 5-man roto. So lots of Dodgers injury news to talk about in today's edition. Meanwhile, T.C. Lewis, he is the father of a prized USC football recruit for the class of 2025, quarterback Julian Lewis, 5-star recruit out of Georgia. T.C. Lewis told the LA Daily News that the Trojans shouldn't have anything to worry about in terms of his son breaking a commitment to play as part of that recruiting class. If you recall, last week alone, the Trojans lost 2 5-star defensive linemen, an interior lineman, and a rush end. The reason we're not naming those players is because they're underage. I don't like talking a lot about the decision process of teenagers, right? I didn't make great decisions as a teenager. You know damn well you didn't either. So let's not drag their names through the mud. Maybe they decide to return to SC. No idea. But as for Julian Lewis, T.C. Lewis said, yes, it is true. His son has been making visits to other colleges. But that's simply a contingency plan. Lincoln Riley still has a lot of pull in terms of his reputation. Don't go around buying the hot takes of the pundits that you see on ESPN or Fox Sports. Lincoln Riley's name has clout as an offensive innovator, as a quarterback guru. So the point is that what if all of a sudden the NFL actually does come a calling for Lincoln Riley? Would he leave? If that were the case, then yeah, there is the possibility that Julian Lewis would break his commitment. It's a contingency plan. Quote, Julian is committed to SC as long as they do what they said they were going to do, unquote. That being from the father. Meanwhile, regarding the basketball program, as you know, the NBA draft is this week. ESPN thinks that former USC point guard Isaiah Collier, who was one and done with the Trojans after coming in as one of the nation's top recruits, they think he's no longer a lottery pick. Now, this isn't according to mock drafts. This is according to a big board, so to speak, where they take all the players and they just rank them. Not according to teams, not according to needs. It's just who's better than who. They have Collier at 23. Now, if something like that holds true, obviously, he's no longer a lottery pick. If you are wondering, Bronny James slots in at 55, which, of course, if it were a mock draft, that would be exactly where the Lakers would take that pick, 55. Boogie Ellis clocks in at number 78, which means he's probably not likely to be drafted. Ellis is kind of like Adam Bona over at UCLA. He's just working out for any team that wants to have him over for a spell. Meanwhile, Trojans coach Eric Musselman said rebuilding the basketball program on the fly was made much easier thanks to USC because they have adapted quickly to NIL, name, image, likeness, the way that some of the athletes get compensated for going to a school. Quote, it's ever evolving, by the minute, by the day. Numbers have changed by the day, and you've got to be adjustable. I think they've been great. No complaints, unquote. But what about UCLA? Yesterday, we talked a little bit about their former big man, Adam Bona, and how he's been willing to work out even more so than Boogie Ellis. Adam Bona is a man in command because of the fact that he's such a defensive presence. Any team that calls up Adam Bona, Bona's on the next frontier flight out of town. So he has been willing to work out for anybody to land an NBA gig. And by the way, that plan has been working like gangbusters, according to ESPN, at least on their big board. Adam Bona is now ranked 33rd on this big board. So what does that mean? He could be a first rounder. Absolutely. And by the way, if it's late first round, Adam Bona lands on a contending team. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying it's all peaches and cream for Adam Bona. He did have a problem or two at UCLA, which, by the way, also showed up in the NBA draft combine. He gets into foul trouble easy. But can he be useful? I don't see why not. The LA Kings are still in a bit of a pickle after trading away known slacker Pierre-Luc Dubois. Sending him to Washington, D.C. delighted us all as Kings fans, I must suggest, but it didn't offer that much in terms of cap relief. Some, true, but not a ton. LA is going to still need players that they can sign for the minimum wage and hope that these players play way above being paid minimum wage. And I bring that up because Alex Turcotte signed a 3-year deal for the league minimum. And it's a massive pay cut for the guy. Look, Turcotte was the 5th overall pick back in 2019. He simply hasn't made a dent in the NHL. He's had too many injuries, particularly concussions. He's a 5th overall pick from about 5 years ago, and he can't get above the Ontario reign. That might change this year. And by the way, the Dubois trade could make it easier to retain defenseman Matt Roy, who turned himself into a legit shutdown top 4 defenseman. But we still don't know yet what the front office has in mind. Keep in mind, Brandt Clark is still considered one of a top defenseman in the future. He might get called up this year, and Matt Roy might be gone no matter what. FC Barcelona really likes what they have in former LAFC defender Mamadou Fall. Apparently Fall, who's only 21, well, last year he was loaned over to the Spanish superpower. But apparently The Athletic is reporting that if Barcelona does decide to keep Fall, the Black and Gold is probably going to get about $4 million in a transfer fee. Meanwhile, as for the Galaxy last night, one of the things to take away from that victory, and credit Alex Ruiz of the Galactic Tribune for finding this little nugget. The Galaxy, under manager Greg Vanney, finally has wingers he can rely on. He had been begging the Galaxy front office for years, please, my offense is not structured around one dominant striker. We need speedy wingers to set the defense back on its feet. We need wingers. And if you recall, former team president Chris Klein was like, wingers? Hell, why didn't you say so? And then he brought in Douglas Costa. Here's what Ruiz noticed. Costa and Tyler Boyd last year combined for 21 goals in its entirety. Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsill have already hit 20, and the season's barely halfway done. Offensive lineman Oluwafuntu Akinshilo, my apologies, has transferred to UCLA from Iowa State. Akinshilo played for Lusinger High before joining the Cyclones out in the Midwest. He's 335 pounds, and that means he's probably a guard. But I can't tell you if he starts. See, currently on the UCLA depth chart, they have Alani Makahele and Spencer Holstedge, currently on the first team. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Are you distressed over the latest news about Clayton Kershaw? Who do you think will wind up being drafted amongst the Trojans and the Bruins in the NBA? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.